Welcome to A&M Reviews. I'm Sal, and I'm here with my friend Touly. Say hi, Touly.
Hey everyone.
And before we get into it, there's going to be spoilers ahead, so you've been warned. And today we're going to be reviewing Avengers: Infinity War, directed by the Russo brothers. So before we get into it, Touly, do you want to say something about your point of view?
Yeah, so I went into this movie having not read the comic books. So my perspective about what happened in the movie and my feelings after the fact is based purely just from the movie. And even if I did read the comic books, this is true for almost any other type of movies or TV series or whatever that I watch. If it's based off of something, I try not to compare them across its original source too seriously, because I understand, at least from my perspective, that these are two different mediums of storytelling. So I would just try to convey how I feel about this movie just based on the movie itself.
So with me, on the other hand, I'm comic book geek. I've read the issues. There's two different versions of them, the old ones and the currently postmodern ones. If I'm going to talk about something, I am going to point out that it's based on the comic books, but like Touly said, we're just take it with a grain of salt. Don't think we're really influenced by the comics, but overall it's just going to be based on the movie. So with that said, let's get this review on the road. So Touly, as we went into the movie, we noticed that there's some characters that are not there presently that were there before. Do you want to talk about some of the characters you noticed that were not there?
Yeah, so two of the characters who I thought that were going to be in this film at some point was Hawkeye, because I have strongly associated Hawkeye with being with the Avengers from prior movies. The other character being Ant-Man, because Ant-Man made an appearance in the last Avengers movie as well. So those were the two characters who I thought were going to be in the film, but they didn't show up. And they did provide some reasons, but I had to kind of like go and search online for these because I sort of missed out, because it was like a brief dialogue about them not being there. But yeah, those were the two characters for me. But what about you, Sal?
Oh yeah, well, touching upon that, I think the reasoning was that they took a plea deal, house arrest or something. So hopefully they touch upon that in Ant-Man and Wasp. The other two major people that I've noticed were not there. I noticed Valkyrie was missing from Thor Ragnarok. The next character from Thor Ragnarok that was missing was Korg, which actually was the voice by the director from Thor Ragnarok. So for them not to reference even Valkyrie, maybe in the corner she's bleeding or wounded or something, that kind of made me feel like, oh, maybe there's an issue with money or not enough budget and they didn't want to include them. Two more characters that I kind of just wanted to talk about due to the ending when there's the end credit. I want to say where's Coulson? Or for that fact, since S.H.I.E.L.D. is the TV show and this takes part in the same universe, where's the Inhumans? For that matter of fact, Sky or Quake, where are they? This would have been the perfect time to actually have them bridge over to movies. But I can understand why they probably want to keep the TV show separate from the movies. But just me being a geek, I've seen Coulson before in movies, and now why isn't he in the movies anymore? So there were some of the characters that I noticed that were missing. With that said, let's move on and talk about what we liked about the movie. Scenes and references and stuff like that, or little Easter eggs that we noticed. So, Touly, do you want to take it from there?
I can mention a couple of the things that I really liked. I noticed that there was a ton of comical moments in this film, but I believe for me personally, the two that I enjoyed the most actually came from Rocket Raccoon. One was when he met up with Bucky on the battlefield towards the end in Wakanda, and he was asking him how much for the gun, and Bucky was like, "It's not for sale." And then Rocket Raccoon replies, "What about that arm?" And so this played, back to Guardians of the Galaxy with Rocket Raccoon. I suppose it's like his obsession with prosthetics and eyeballs and stuff. So I found that to be very hilarious. And then in terms of like the more serious side, I felt bad for Rocket Raccoon as well, because he lost Groot again. So, I mean, that was a pretty traumatic experience for the viewers and just for the characters themselves, as they lost their friends, their comrades in that particular moment when Thanos went berserk. and use the Infinity Stones to wipe out half of the universe there. But
let me stop you right there. Just I don't know if this is gonna make you feel better, but like James Gunn said that Groot, when he died the first time, he actually died. This is not really Groot. This is the son of Groot. I don't know how that makes you feel. If hopefully I'm trying to be sympathetic and make you feel better. Does that make you feel better?
Yeah. It's more. I just felt bad for Rocket Raccoon, really, just for him to go through that experience or something like that again. It just made me feel bad for the guy. That's how I felt like in the moment. I was in the moment, and out of all the characters who were losing again, their comrades there. For me, it was Rocket Raccoon who like did it to me. But on a very personal note, though, when Spider-Man died there next to Tony,
yes,
that one hit home on a more personal level because Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel character. So when he died, it hit home a little bit more. It was more personal. But I guess in terms of the Infinity Stones themselves, like my favorite part. When Thanos used part of the moon to shoot down, comets or rocks at Tony.
Yes.
That scene right there, that just blew me away. I was probably my favorite part in terms of using, an Infinity Stone to do damage. Like, again, compared to what happened at the end, it's not as brutal, but the visual aspect, and it felt like I was there. Like, I felt being dragged off that moon and being hit by those things like Tony was getting hit by. And to me, for the longest of time while I was watching the film, I saw like bits and pieces of what the Infinity Stones was capable of.
Yes.
But it wasn't until that moment when I saw that, I was like, holy crap. These things are powerful.
Yeah.
Like, for him to be able to do something like that right there, it's like, this is insane. I know they already mentioned that he has the ability, Thanos, if he were to acquire all the Infinity Stones, that he could wipe out anybody in an instant of a snap of a finger. But, to see him pull something off a moon like that, that's just like, it's just unfathomable.
Yes.
And for them to visually, I think that's the thing that makes me feel like this was the more powerful representation of the stone to me. It's like, for them to visually capture this, that's what convinced me that this was just awesome to watch. So
it's like they're showing you the scale of what could
exactly
the power
exactly.
they can do, and that was not even a fraction of what it was. It was like, look, by the way, I can throw that at you, kind of thing. Now, okay, going back to my James Gunn thing. I just want to point out that I don't agree with James Gunn. I don't think that Groot is really Groot Jr. I think that Groot is Groot, and he's always going to be Groot. For a matter of fact, I want to reference comic books on that. So people who are listening, if you want to pay attention, don't listen to James Gunn. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Pay attention to what the comic books say. It's just stick to the truth is the main source, and Groot is Groot. Groot lives. Okay, now back to what you were saying about characters that when they were dying. Back to the Spider-Man. Man, if you ask anybody when they're growing up or anything, who do you relate to? They're going to tell you, 90% of the people are going to say, I relate to Spider-Man. Because here's the thing. Spider-Man's the awkward kid. He's the kid who wants to fit in, but at the same time, he has these powers, so he has responsibilities, but he still needs to do homework and everything. So people relate to him. And that's what I think really touched me the same way it touched you when he was dying in Tony Stark's hands. He's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And then, like, just those words just echoed with me. Like, he's a kid. He doesn't want to die. He just started. Like, you guys are, like, older and everything, but this is just a kid. It's his first real mission with the Avengers because he got knighted. It's like, this is his first time going into battle for the universe, and now he's dead. So, yeah, that was, like, one of the most touching scenes that I saw with the Groot and Rocket Raccoon. There's so much backstory there that if people knew about it, it's like they are one. They complement each other like the yin and yang. Groot is like the most peaceful guy. Rocket Raccoon is like always about guns and stuff. But at the end of the day, they both have the same heart. So it's like he's losing part of himself. It's like, and you saw him when, like, even though people will say, hey, it's just a CG character, like, yeah, but the way they made him act and feel, when Groot just disintegrated in front of him, that's like his friend, that's his like companion, So those were really sad moments. I mean, there's not going to be something that's going to shock you as more as seeing like your superheroes or your heroes in front of you kind of disintegrate.
Yeah, but then I would say, Sal, I would say that when Black Panther fell, that took me by surprise too, because the way they shot that particular scene, I thought it was the general who was gonna turn into ash there, but it was Black Panther, and I'm not sure it was because Black Panther was the more recent Marvel movie that I saw, and I came to love the character in that film, and how I came to know Black Panther a bit more. That maybe it came at more of a shock when he died there, but yeah, just the way they shot it too, it's kind of like, okay, I definitely thought the general was gone, but it turned out to be the Black Panther.
I noticed that when they framed it, she was centered in the actual frame, so that brings your attention to her, and all of a sudden Black Panther comes panning from the left. He comes into the shot and says something along the like, "Are you okay?" or "How what how's the damage?" or something like, "Are you wounded?" And all of a sudden he starts disintegrating, and then he falls, and you're like, "Whoa! I didn't see that coming," and it was like out of nowhere. Yeah, because I see where you're saying like it was framed to fool you, saying like, "Oh, it's gonna be the general who's gonna disintegrate." In comes Black Panther, boom, he's gone, and you're like, "Whoa, I didn't see that coming." Yeah, I mean that scene when people started disappearing, it was just like at the same time amazing, same time it was sad. Is like you didn't expect it, you didn't know, you knew it was coming, but you didn't think it was gonna be this impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Star-Lord. Okay, and he disintegrated too, but in a sense, I'm leaning towards like he had it coming because he messed up. If you guys want to know how I feel about it, is that they were about to take the gauntlet off of Thanos, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, who is it? Drax, I think, and Mantis. Mantis is controlling him through his emotions. Star-Lord comes up and starts asking him where Gamora is. He gets emotional, then he wants, like, even, I think it's Tony or Doctor Strange who says, stop, don't do this, focus on what we're going to do. He starts trying to bitch slap Thanos and get his payback for Gamora. And I'm like, dude, that's not important right now. The gauntlet, come on, focus on the gauntlet. Once you take that off, you can bitch slap him all you want. But I was like really mad. I was like, to me, it seems like we could have just left Star-Lord back on the ship and just said, here, listen to your Volume 2 mix all over again, or you're soon. Just stay out of this for now, kind of thing, But to me, it really pissed me off, to tell you the truth. And I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah, I was pretty, like I said, I wasn't really angry at what he did. If I were to really put myself in his shoes, to discover that somebody who I loved was killed at the hand of this person, and I might have reacted that way, but what I was feeling more at the time was disappointment, because despite him doing that, later he got killed off, right, from Thanos' ability from using the Infinity Stone. And to me, I wanted him to survive. Like, I wanted him not to have died, because I wanted him to live with the guilt that he was a big reason as to why things led up to what it did. And I wanted him to be able to redeem himself from this and grow from this and become more than a comical hero, because we know that he's more than a comical person because of what happened to his mother. So with the loss of Gamora, I hope that he would have been able to rise above this too. But for them to just kill him off like that, it doesn't give him the opportunity to do this. So I was more disappointed than angry after I kind of thought about it. So, but I guess it is what it is.
Well, I mean, I agree with you in a certain sense that he should have been alive to feel bad of what he did, like feel remorse and then feel guilt and then feel all those emotions leading up to like, I messed up, I have to live with my consequences. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, we see that he has a really emotional character that, like in Volume 2, he fought against his father right after he learned that his father actually killed his mom by giving her cancer. We see that he has that ability to, get emotional and feel guilt and everything. But at the same time, it's like, this is a battle for the universe, to save the universe. So I'm like, I think he should have behaved a little better than he did. Understand that, this shit is going down, but I'm going to wait until we finish task at hand, and then I can kick this guy's ass all I want,
Maybe one of the guys there, if they had the opportunity, they should have just knocked him out.
Yeah, you know what? That's what I was hoping for, that They would have basically told Drax, get him, and then Drax would have probably dragged him. But then if they go my route, that's the end of the movie. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I see why they did it, but at the same time, I'm like, it pissed me off. Next character that pissed me off too was Wanda, Scarlet Witch. I think she also pissed you off. Well, she didn't piss you off. I think it was the way
it was the way she was handled.
Yes,
yeah,
by Marvel. We know that Scarlet Witch is if you're going the Marvel way, we can use the word mutant because that's allocated for the X-Men movie, which is done by, I think, 20th Century Fox. She's, in the comic book, she's really strong. She's the reason why half of the mutants on Earth were wiped out. She killed them. Because of her, the mutant population went from being what it was to just a fraction of, scattered people. So, in a sense, she's really, really strong. And I think some people even say that she's stronger than Professor X, Charles Xavier. And she's the daughter of Magneto, but you can't talk about Magneto because he's also licensed to another company. But in this movie, her powers, we saw in, was it Age of Ultron? She mind controlled people. So what happened to those powers here? Did she forget that she had those abilities? Next thing for me was she knew what she had to do to Vision. But for her to hesitate that long, I mean, I understand that she's in love with him and it's the I love you thing that, like, I choose you over the universe. But at the same time, at one point she had to get over it. But she took too long. Or they should have shown her doing it more often and getting stopped and then continuing to break the stone. Eventually she broke the stone, but Thanos kind of used the time to go back kind of thing. So in a sense, now that I'm thinking about it, there was no way around it. Even if she broke the stone, Thanos could have just taken time back and rewinded it. But it just shows me that they handled her really bad. They lowered her powers. They didn't give her the opportunity to prove herself. I think you raised a good point. Do you want to talk about your point that